Terry Kelly spurs and a Bob Mars saddle, you may not be a cowboy, but by God, you'll look like one.
Okay, I was working for AQHA, and Bob had his saddle shop over on 3rd Street, and I guess the first time I met Bob, I probably took something over there, some piece of tack or something over there for him to work on for me. And then, but we got to visiting, and I enjoyed talking to him and Ms. Mars, and then I just kept going back. And if I had something for him to work on, that was great. But I went in there lots of times just to visit and hear the stories and all. Also, Bob always had a booth at all the ranch rodeos, at the trade shows, at the ranch rodeos, both here in Amarillo and Wichita Falls and Abilene, and I would see him there, and I'd just always stop at his booth, and we'd take the opportunity to visit, and we just became friends over the years. I was traveling all over the country, and as I'd go to these big ranches around and get to talking to the cowboys, well, once they found out that I was from Amarillo, they'd invariably say, "Well, do you know Bob Mars? I've got one of his saddles." So I mean, it was like that all the time. As far as the cowboys and the ranching community, Bob put Amarillo on the map. I mean, everybody knows about Amarillo in that industry just because of Bob Mars.
Well, anybody that ever went into Bob and Betty Mars saddle shop over on 3rd Street, heard the bell ring when you opened the door and walked into the smell of the new saddles. It's a pretty nostalgic feeling for me to think about it, talk about it. The first saddle I bought from him was a used saddle in the mid-'60s. And then for several years I kept a saddle. My first new saddle was in about '67 or '8, but for several years I kept a saddle ordered every other year from him. And he perfected the old saddle maker Carl Darr's poinsettia stamp and was a real artist at making saddles with the poinsettia flower. He called me one time and said that he was fixing to start on one that he was going to build and wanted to know if I had any changes. And I told him the only change was that I didn't have the money to pay for it right then, so he better not start on it. He laughed and he said, "I'll just go ahead and make it if you don't want any changes in it, because you'll have the money to pay for it and I get through with it." I don't know, we've been really good friends a long time, and he and Betty always believed in me and encouraged me. If I had to describe him, I would sure describe him as a cowboy's cowboy, a cowboy's saddle maker and an artist, and probably one of the finest Christian men I've ever met.
My dad and granddad traded with him, and they were cowboys. That's all they ever did. And some of my earliest memories going to the saddle shop was I was a little kid. My granddad took me in there, and I was probably 5 years old maybe, or somewhere in that area. And I remember they had a little saddle sitting on the used saddle sitting on the rack. And it had the tapaderos on the stirrups and a silver horn. And I thought that was the prettiest saddle I ever saw. It was just my size. And anyway, my granddad bought that from Bob, and he let me pay for it. So I thought I was grown up. From there on, the saddle shop has always been kind of a social event. If we had any time to kill when I was running with my dad or where, we'd stop by the saddle shop and just tell stories and listen to stories. And you never knew who was coming in there. It could be from one of the earliest celebrities I remember was Benny Binion coming in, and he owned a casino out at Las Vegas. Of course, Eddie Colley worked there, and several people through the years. Some of the best people I ever knew came out of that saddle shop and taught me a lot of things. And as far as a person, I've known Bob and his wife for, like I say, nearly all my life, and good moral people, good character. And like I say, I'm glad I got to know them. Glad I got to know the people that work for him. And I never knew anybody in there that I didn't like.
He made saddles for a long time, and he could sure make one pretty quick. And he, whenever it come time for me to make a saddle and tool it, he'd always draw the design, and I'd cut it and tool it. And I asked him one time, I said, Bob, I understand where you put the flowers on the fenders and the seat and all, but how do you get all them leaves to match? And he said, like this. And I said, thanks. I didn't learn much on that, but I did get to tool them and then make saddles. And well, one time we was making saddles. We made the saddles for the Wesley Sims Memorial down at Happy. Bob would make the steer open saddle, and I'd make the calf open saddle. One year, golly, I forget that fellow's name. They won the steer open. He won it one year and come back the next year, and he was riding Bob's saddle, and he won it again. And Bob had a picture of him on a horse with the saddle that he had made and the other one that he had just won. One time, Bob Hewlett and Ben Johnson, the actor, they come in the back door, and Bob was real little, and Ben Johnson was a big. And whenever they come in, I noticed that buckle, world champion buckle that Ben had on, and I never seen him before, but I recognized him. And Bob was over there tooling, and they walked by him and spoke. And Bob spoke to them, and I went over there and asked Bob. I said, "Was that Ben Johnson?" "Ben Johnson? Who's Ben Johnson?" I said, "Right up there."
Bob, I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate you for this award. It's a neat deal, and you are certainly deserving. You've been in this industry a long, long time, and again, congratulations.
Bob, I just want to congratulate you on what you've done, what you've accomplished, and I want to personally thank you for what you taught me when I was working for you. And Bob, you and your shop has made saddles and sent them all over the world and made a lot of cowboys happy.
Bob, I just want to say congratulations. There's nobody more deserving to me than you in this deal. I've got a few people I'd put up there with you, but I'm sure proud of you and glad you're doing it. I thank you for all the times good times you've given me and good memories. Life wouldn't have been near what it's been without you and your saddles and saddle shop. Again, congratulations.
I don't know anybody any more fitting for this award than you, Bob. Congratulations.